Today, we are diving headfirst into the incredible and, let's be honest, often contradictory world of modern Japanese culture. It's this amazing place of serene, quiet beauty and at the same time, just unbelievable pressure. A culture with global reach, but also one with deeply ingrained traditions. So, I've got a question for you. What in the world connects global political protests, super tense samurai duels in old movies, and the absolutely soul-crushing reality of being overworked? Sounds like a total riddle, right? Well, the answer is Japan. These things seem like they have nothing to do with each other, but they're all threads in this complex cultural fabric. And by the time we're done here, you're going to see exactly how they all link up. So let's start with something you've almost definitely seen everywhere: anime. But here's the thing, it's so much more than just entertainment. Lately, Japanese pop culture has become this powerful and, frankly, pretty surprising language of rebellion all over the globe. And this quote from author Matt Alt really gets to the heart of why. He points out that so much anime and manga is fundamentally about distrusting authority. It's about empowering the underdog, the misfit, the person who doesn't quite belong. And that's a theme that, really hits home for people everywhere, especially when they're fighting for a change. And you can see this playing out for real in some pretty wild ways. I mean, look at this. In Indonesia, you've got protesters using the pirate flag from One Piece as a symbol against corruption. In Thailand, they co-opted the theme song from a kids' show, Hamtaro, to demand political reform. And in Chile, a protester dressed up as Pikachu became a national icon of resistance. These are not just cartoons anymore. They've become these potent symbols of defiance. It's incredible. Okay, so let's shift gears. We're going to move from what Japan sends out into the world to the deep aesthetic principles that shape its art. And we can start with something super familiar: food. Because believe it or not, a simple plate of sushi can teach us a lot about Japanese design. In a lot of Japanese dining, it's all about simplicity and balance. Think about a plate of really good sushi. It's never cluttered, right? The empty space on the plate, that negative space, is treated as being just as important as the food. It's there to frame the ingredients, to let their quality and their natural beauty just pop. It's the classic case of less is more. And this idea goes way beyond food. Let's compare, say, a classic movie standoff. In a Hollywood Western by someone like Sergio Leone, you get this frantic energy, right? Quick cuts, music swelling, super tight close-ups on the eyes and the hands. But a master like Akira Kurosawa in Japan, he does the complete opposite. He'll hold a single, wide shot for what feels like an eternity. He'll cut the sound entirely. The tension doesn't come from chaos, it comes from the stillness, from that agonizing, silent. Well, this powerful concept has a name. It's called ma. It's the intentional pause, the meaningful emptiness, the space between things. It's not just nothing. It's an active, powerful ingredient that shapes the whole experience, whether it's the silence in a film or the empty space on a dinner plate. So, keeping that idea of ma in mind, let's look at a pretty controversial example from the world of anime, Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's notorious for these scenes where the animation just stops. For a long time, the debate was, were they just cutting corners? Was this a cheap way to save money? But is that really all that's going on here? No, not at all. In fact, it's a brilliant, deliberate use of ma. By holding a single static shot for a full minute, the director literally forces you into the character's mind. You feel their anxiety, their paralysis, their internal chaos. That uncomfortable stillness, it isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's the exact same idea as that silent Kurosawa duel, just in animated form. Okay, so we've touched on the what and the how of Japanese aesthetics, but now let's dig into the why. What's the deep, underlying worldview that leads to these kinds of artistic choices? Well, a lot of it comes down to this concept, mono no aware. Now, this isn't just being sad. It's a really deep, almost bittersweet appreciation for the beauty of things because they don't last. The classic example is cherry blossoms. Their beauty is so powerful precisely because it's so brief. It's a kind of gentle sadness for the fact that everything is temporary. And this whole philosophy is the heart and soul of an entire anime genre called iyashikei, which you can translate as healing anime. These shows aren't about big, epic fights. They're about finding this profound sense of comfort and beauty in the simple, quiet moments of life. Sharing a meal, walking home from school, just talking with a friend. So, you see, it's not about being depressed at all. It's actually about finding resilience. It's the idea that when you're faced with all the big, scary, inevitable changes in life, that steady, comforting rhythm of the everyday, that's what gives you strength. That's how you find the beauty and the will to keep going.
And that brings us to the most jarring contrast in this whole explainer. We've just been talking about this beautiful, healing, idealized vision of community. But that ideal exists right alongside a truly brutal reality in modern Japan.
Okay, so first, the ideal. You watch a healing anime like Tamako Market, and the whole world is this cozy little shopping arcade where everyone acts like one big, happy, supportive family. They look out for each other, they share everything. It's basically a perfect vision of community. And now, for the reality. Karoshi. It's a word that doesn't really have a one-to-one translation in English because it describes something so specific to parts of Japanese work culture. It literally means death from overwork. And this is not some abstract idea. This number, 105, that's the number of overtime hours that a 24-year-old woman named Mitsuri Takahashi worked in a single month, right before she died by suicide. She worked at a top advertising agency. And just to give you an idea of the pressure she was under, this was one of the official 10 rules for employees at her company. If you get the job, don't let it go, even if you die. The gap between this and the gentle healing world of anime couldn't be more shocking or more tragic. So how on earth do you reconcile these two versions of Japan? The one that creates this beautiful art about healing and community, and the one that produces the cold reality of karoshi? Well, the answer seems to be that they don't reconcile. They just exist together in this constant, powerful state of tension. This slide really just lays it all out, side by side. On one side, you have the ideals we've talked about, the healing communities, the power of the empty space, and on the other, the stark reality, isolating work cultures and unrelenting deadlines. You have art that empowers the outsider, clashing with a society that puts immense pressure on people to conform. The ideal of finding beauty in change versus a deep cultural resistance to it. So what does it all mean? Well, it's not that one side is the real Japan and the other is fake. The key takeaway here is that the friction between these extremes, this huge gap between the ideal and the reality, the beautiful and the brutal, that is the very engine that powers so much of Japan's most incredible and compelling art. The art is both a reaction against and an escape from the pressures of the real world. Which really just leaves us with one final massive question. Is this constant tension a sustainable source of profound creativity? A dynamic that fuels amazing art? Or are we actually looking at the signs of a system that is stretched to its absolute breaking point? That's the real question, isn't it?